Prepare yourself. This is the moment. You're about to witness one of the most pivotal days of your life. And if you aren't prepared, you could simply miss your opportunity. No matter what decisions you made, you were always destined to arrive here. Some moments are inherently part of you. It doesn't matter how far you've strayed, how many times you've faltered, or how many incorrect paths you've taken. There are certain points in your life you absolutely cannot miss. This Thursday is one of them. It's a fixed landmark on the map of your existence. The instant where every detour, every heartbreak, every sudden turn funnels you back to this very same place. This is not a coincidence. This is a spiritual certainty. And when you reach it, the next phase begins, with or without your consent. You agreed to this moment before you were even born. Before you drew your first breath, you marked this date. You may not remember it consciously, but your soul does. Chosen ones set time triggers before their incarnation. Moments designed to shake them awake and shift them into the next stage of their journey. Tomorrow is one of those triggers. It's not a random occurrence. It's not fate making the choice for you. It's the countdown you placed within your own journey. That's why the atmosphere has felt heavier recently, why some have been restless, feeling strange waves of pressure, sudden bursts of clarity, or even an unexplainable pull in their chest. Because this is more than just a date. It's a checkpoint in the mission you chose, and when it activates, what emerges will demand you make a choice. You are no longer too much. You are at last exactly enough. For years, you felt like your energy was something people couldn't handle, as if the truth in your voice, the intensity of your presence, was something they had to withdraw from. But Thursday turns that narrative on its head. What used to push people away will now attract the right ones toward you. This is the transition where your light stops feeling like a threat to others and begins to feel like an invitation. It's not that you've fundamentally changed. It's that your frequency finally aligns with the recognition you've been longing for. You're no longer chasing. You're attracting what was always meant to find you. You may notice conversations flowing with people you would never expect to connect with, or invitations showing up out of the blue. It's the start of genuine community, of seeing a reflection of your own authenticity mirrored back to you in others. And it all starts on a Thursday that appears ordinary until it suddenly isn't. All those delays, it turns out they were shortcuts in disguise. How many times have you looked at your life and thought, I should be further along by now? Thursday begins to dissolve that persistent thought, not in a forced, everything happens for a reason kind of way, but in a moment of undeniable clarity where you see that every detour was actually placing you exactly where you needed to be. The relationships that ended, the doors that closed, the opportunities that fell through, they weren't blocking you. They were guiding you to the one path that would truly hold the weight of your purpose. You weren't being slowed down. You were being set up. It's the kind of peace that settles into your chest without you having to talk yourself into believing it. And with that peace comes something even bigger. The freedom to move forward without dragging the heavy chains of resentment or self-doubt. The universe never forgot what you did in silence. There is a specific kind of power in the good you've done that nobody knows about. The moments where you could have humiliated someone but chose to let them keep their dignity. The times you gave without any expectation of return, where you helped someone knowing they could never repay the favor. The quiet acts of integrity where the only witness was you. Most people assume those moments simply fade away, lost in the noise of daily life. They don't. Every single one of them was stored, not on some moral scoreboard, but in a field of energy around you, like a spiritual escrow account. And here's the crucial thing about escrow: it's never gone. It simply waits for the right conditions to be released. This Thursday, something opens. It's not going to be grand fireworks and an instant lottery win. It's going to be subtle, yet life-altering. Suddenly, the perfect person appears at the perfect time. A door you didn't even realize existed swings open. You receive a yes where you've only ever heard no. You didn't lose those moments of kindness. They have been circling back, waiting to find you. And what makes it so powerful is that you won't need to question where it's coming from. Deep down, you will know exactly why it's arriving now. It is the reward for all the times you chose light, when it would have been easier to choose shadow. Thursday sharpens something you have carried your entire life, but have never fully trusted. That quiet, subtle shift in the air just before reality changes. It begins subtly. The atmosphere feels different, not louder, not brighter, just altered in a way you can't quite name. A heaviness in the room, a pull in your chest, the faint feeling that somewhere unseen the pieces have already begun to move. In the past, you might have dismissed it, told yourself it was nothing. But this time, the feeling refuses to fade. You carry it with you from one moment to the next, as if the future itself is walking right behind you. It's not a guess. It's not a hopeful wish. It's an awareness, one that's rooted deeper than conscious thought. You'll find your senses tuning into details you would normally miss. The sound of a door closing 3 rooms away makes your body tense for no reason. A sudden shift in the wind feels like a warning or a subtle invitation. Conversations around you seem to converge on a single, unspoken point. Every signal is small on its own, but together they paint a picture that your mind hasn't fully caught up to yet. And then it happens. The thing you couldn't name, the shift you couldn't explain, steps fully into view. It might be good news, an unexpected meeting, a message you weren't anticipating, or it may be a moment that challenges you to act quickly, to make a decision based on instinct alone. Whatever it is, the strange part is not that it happens, but that you already knew it would. Thursday marks the moment your relationship to this awareness changes for good. You will stop treating it like a coincidence and start moving with it. You'll notice the way your body tightens before certain events, the way a wave of calm washes over you when something aligned is on the horizon. This is your personal field syncing with what hasn't physically manifested yet, intercepting the ripples before the stone even breaks the surface of the water. The more you permit this awareness to guide you, the clearer it becomes. And soon you will stop thinking of it as a signal at all. It will simply be a part of you, like the beating of your heart, constant, unseen, and always a step ahead of the moment you're standing in. Thursday isn't the first time you've felt it, but it is the first time you'll stop completely ignoring it. And once you begin to move in sync with that quiet knowing, you will never want to go back to guessing. This Thursday, your true frequency takes over. It has always been there, that deep, steady hum in the background of your existence. Not something you hear, but something you deeply feel. It's the original signal you arrived with, untouched by fear, untouched by the deafening noise of the world. You've brushed up against it before, those rare flashes where everything made perfect sense for no particular reason, where your words felt heavier and your actions seemed to shift reality itself. But for most of your life, that signal has been intentionally muted. You've had to adapt to survive. You bent your tone to match people who didn't truly understand you. You shrunk so you could fit into rooms that couldn't contain your full presence. You amplified pieces of yourself that never came naturally just to be accepted. Every one of those adjustments added a layer of static, and after a while, that static begins to sound normal. You stop noticing what's truly underneath. This Thursday, the static completely cuts out. There is no build-up, no formal announcement, just a sudden, undeniable return to the original note you've been carrying since the very beginning. You will feel it before you can logically explain it, in the way certain things suddenly seem impossible to pretend about, in the way some environments feel tighter, as if they are literally shrinking around you. That's the signal coming forward, reclaiming the ground it lost. And when it does, it has no interest in compromise. Anything that doesn't genuinely resonate with it starts to feel heavier in your body, harder to pretend about, and much harder to tolerate. It isn't a form of rejection, it is simply incompatibility. Your system simply stops translating things that don't match. The very same situations you once endured now feel suffocating. The same conversations you once participated in now leave you with the sense that you are wasting something truly precious. At first, this can feel like a profound loss, as if parts of your life are falling away faster than you can replace them. But what's truly happening is a process of refinement. That unique frequency is drawing out anything that has been diluting it, stripping you down to a version of yourself that is precise, concentrated, and absolutely unmistakable. And the more you lean into it, the more the world around you begins to shift and change in direct response. You may discover that certain people, places, and opportunities seem to arrive with a strange sense of familiarity, as if you've encountered them before or dreamt of them years ago. That's because you have finally tuned yourself to the specific channel they have been broadcasting on all along. This isn't just chance, it's pure resonance. The right things are not chasing you, and you are no longer chasing them. You are simply occupying the same energetic field now, and the meeting point becomes an inevitable occurrence. When your dominant frequency is fully in play, life ceases to feel like a random series of unrelated events and begins to feel like a single, unbroken, cohesive movement. The choices you make, the words you speak, the places you end up, all of it aligns with that core note. And from here on, you will be able to instantly tell the difference between what is genuinely yours and what is just noise trying to imitate your tone. This is the moment your life stops blending into the background and begins to carry a sound the entire world cannot ignore. The version of you who shows up tomorrow morning is not the one who will go to sleep that night. There's a part of you that has always arrived first, ahead of your truth, ahead of your true presence, ahead of your needs. It's the version you learn to wear, maybe not by choice, but for the sake of survival. The one that instinctively knows how to keep things calm. The one that knows how to hold the room together. The one that nods when it doesn't agree, laughs when it isn't genuinely amused, and carries a weight that was never theirs to hold in the first place. You have outgrown this version, but until now you've still let it lead out of ingrained habit, out of fear, out of the quiet lingering belief that you still needed it to protect you. But something fundamentally changes on Thursday, and not because you consciously make a decision to change, but because something deep inside you silently and permanently stops participating. You might be in the middle of saying something and hear your own voice feel completely unfamiliar. You might start reacting in a way you always have, only to feel disconnected from it mid-sentence, like it's an echo of a past self you no longer belong to. That is not a sign of confusion. That is the handoff. The role that has been guarding your life for so long finally realizes its job is done. And it steps aside. It won't leave in a blaze of fire or with dramatic fanfare. It will leave in complete silence. No applause, no grief, just the soft click of a door you didn't even know was locked, finally swinging open. At first, this new absence might feel strange and unsettling. You may not know how to fill the silence it leaves behind. You may even try to bring it back to replay the familiar emotion, to revive the comfort of that old identity, but it will no longer respond because it's no longer yours. You're not simply shedding a mask, you are being released from it. This is not a collapse. This is a profound clearing. You are not losing yourself. You are making the necessary space for the one that has been underneath the entire time, patiently waiting for a moment just like this. And when you lie down to sleep tomorrow night, you'll feel it in your breath, in your chest, in the way your shoulders finally drop, as if they've finally been given permission to stop holding up something far too heavy for them to carry. The world outside won't look any different. But you will move through it with a version of yourself you haven't truly felt in years, one that no longer asks for permission to simply exist. It's not the end of who you once were. It's just the part where you stop dragging them into your future. For the first time, your body finally feels like home. There's a crucial moment in the spiritual journey that almost no one ever talks about, the one where the mind, the energy, and the physical body finally sync up. It doesn't arrive with fireworks or a grand celebration. It doesn't feel like you've suddenly been fixed. It feels instead like you've finally come home to yourself, perhaps for the very first time. Up until now, you've likely lived a little bit outside your body, just enough to get by, to manage, to function, but never fully dropped in. Even during the best, most authentic moments, there has been a lingering layer of self-consciousness between you and your true presence. That constant, exhausting sense of monitoring yourself, adjusting, correcting, and pulling away from how you naturally move or speak or take up space. And over time, that deep separation becomes so utterly normal, you forget it's not supposed to be that way. But what happens when the war inside you finally goes quiet? What happens when you stop looking at your own body like it's some temporary rental you're not sure how to decorate? On Thursday, that question ceases to be a hypothetical. You're no longer performing. You're no longer rehearsing how to exist. Something deep inside you settles into place, not as a sudden rush of confidence, but as a quiet, steady agreement between your physical self and your spirit. The fight to be better loses its powerful grip, and what rises in its place is a profound stillness, a subtle shift in your internal gravity. You're no longer moving from a place of defense or reaction. You are simply inhabiting. There is no effort involved. There is no trying to prove a single thing. It simply is. You'll walk a little differently, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because your body finally trusts you enough to truly relax. You'll catch a glimpse of yourself in a mirror, not with critique, but with a deep sense of recognition. The same physical form you've known for years now feels unfamiliar in the most wonderful way, as if it has finally caught up to the truth of who you have become. It doesn't require you to love every inch of your reflection. It just asks that you stop treating yourself like an unfinished project. That constant sense of editing, adjusting, and hiding It simply lets go. Not because you have to force it, but because there's nothing left for it to protect you from. This is not some breakthrough that needs to be publicly declared. You don't need to caption it or turn it into a personal affirmation. What is so sacred about this moment is how quiet and internal it is. You will know the shift has happened not because the world suddenly starts praising you, but because you no longer need it to. The acceptance you were tirelessly scanning for out there was always patiently waiting inside you. This Thursday does not give you a new body. It hands you back the one you already had, but without the shame, the tension, or the profound silence it was wrapped in. And once you feel that, even for a brief second, nothing else ever truly feels like home again, because you've already found it, and this time you're not leaving. You'll feel truth in your body, and lies will no longer stick. We are all taught to analyze everything with the mind first, to break it down, weigh it out, ask for proof, and make it logical. But when it comes to the truth, the mind is often the very last one to figure it out, because the mind can rationalize anything. It can talk you into things that hurt you and talk you right out of things that would set you free. But your body does not lie, and on Thursday something inside you awakens that makes that truth completely unmissable. You won't even need to think about it, you'll simply feel it. The second something is off, your body will tense before your brain can come up with a single excuse. The second something is real and authentic, you'll feel it as a profound safety, as a quiet pull forward, as a deep inhale that finally lands in your chest. That instinct, the very one you've been taught to override your entire life, is the exact tool that gets sharpened this week. It might hit you in the middle of a conversation you've had 100 times, and suddenly the words won't land the same way. They will sound hollow, as if you've woken up mid-script and realized you are done playing along. What used to feel polite will now feel completely fake. What used to feel exciting will now feel cheap and hollow. You will no longer be able to tolerate even one more round of pretending not to know what you know. The signal will be far too strong to ignore. You may find yourself pulling back from things you can't fully explain. Things that look perfectly fine on paper but just don't feel right anymore. You won't know how to explain it to other people, and you won't need to, because this isn't about proving your perception. It's about following it, and you will know with a kind of certainty that doesn't come from fear or from logic that your nervous system is now your clearest and most reliable guide. This is what embodiment looks like when it truly sharpens. You stop using your thoughts to scan for threats and start listening to the raw response underneath them. You trust the part of you that can feel what's behind the words. You move based on that split-second knowing that rises up before your story-driven mind can try to kill it. And when something is fake, when someone is performing, manipulating, or sugarcoating, you won't have to call it out. You'll just feel it in your stomach, and you will simply exit because there's no space left inside you to digest anything that doesn't carry the frequency of truth. But this shift also brings a kind of profound beauty, because when something is real, you'll feel it hit differently. Someone's presence will feel like a potent medicine. Someone's genuine words will land in your chest like a bell that has been rung. A beautiful moment will open up, and you'll be inside it without needing to analyze why. There will be nothing to manage, nothing to decode, because your body has already made the decision for you, and it was right all along. Thursday turns that signal up permanently. It marks the moment where your inner compass stops needing permission from your logic. The moment where your reactions, your boundaries, and your decisions, they all start coming from the part of you that knows before it ever understands. And once that is fully online, manipulation simply doesn't work on you anymore. Noise won't confuse you. Spiritual jargon won't distract you. You no longer need someone to prove their light. You can simply feel if it's there. You've spent years in spaces where you had to talk yourself into staying. But now you will feel when it is time to leave before your mind even has a chance to ask why. And that's when you'll truly realize this isn't intuition. This is your instinct, meticulously rebuilt from the ground up on a foundation of pure truth. And it won't just help you survive, it's how you will thrive. You won't realize you've passed the point of no return until it's too late to turn back. Some shifts in life come with a great deal of noise and commotion. This one doesn't. It slips in quietly in the middle of something forgettable, disguised as nothing of consequence. And yet everything subtly starts to feel slightly off-center, as if something familiar has simply stopped responding the way it used to. You don't notice it right away. At first it feels like you're just tired of playing along. The old story no longer holds the same tension. The voice in your head that used to tirelessly defend your old life starts to hesitate. Then, without any fanfare, you are just simply done. This is how real, lasting change truly enters your life. Not through a conscious, difficult decision, but through a gentle dissolve. The entire architecture of who you once were can no longer hold its shape. Not because it was inherently wrong, but because your energy no longer agrees to inhabit it. And without that fundamental agreement, everything you used to need begins to effortlessly fall away. By the time you fully recognize what has happened, the door has already closed behind you, not slammed shut, not locked tight, just no longer accessible to you. There's nothing dramatic to return to. It simply doesn't exist in your body anymore. The loop has ended for good. The spell has finally worn off. And what you used to cling to with such desperation now feels impossibly far away. That is precisely why this Thursday matters so much. Not because something explodes, but because nothing does. There's no resistance, no difficult battle, just a soft click beneath the surface, and you are never the same again. This is exactly what makes it permanent. It doesn't demand your focused attention, it just happens, and once it does, you can't unfeel the profound stillness that replaces the noise you once thought you absolutely needed.